Hi, this is Dave with NTI Online, and today I'm going to walk you through diagnosing restricted or blocked venting using your manometer. So in the past, if you thought you had a restricted exhaust or intake, you may have put a snake down there or had a look through with a type of inspection camera. There is some testing you can do with your manometer that hopefully you'll always have on your truck and is available to you. And this test can be pretty definitive very quickly and tell you where you need to be looking for your problem. There are a couple of things that you have to do first. We're going to assume that when you do this test that you're checking both the intake and exhaust, and you need to do that every time to make sure your results are valid. And I'm also assuming that the combustion chamber of the boiler and the burner are clean. If you haven't done those steps, you probably should do those now before proceeding with the next test. A blocked burner, or if you have a bee's nest inside the intake in the cabinet here, will obscure your readings, so potentially you could actually have two problems, and this is something we see in tech support a fair bit. The customer finds one problem, assumes that's the only one, and it turns out there is a second issue. So you need to address these one at a time. But the test for checking your venting is very simple. We just need to either fire the boiler up or put it into an ignition sequence if it won't fire, and then we're going to monitor the pressure in the exhaust. So what I'm going to do is you need to take your manometer, make sure it's set to inches water column, and we're going to go to the top of the boiler where the exhaust test port is, and I'm going to show you how to do that check. Once you're at the top of your boiler, you want to remove the test port. If you have a TRX like this one, it's got both an intake and an exhaust test port in the same part built into the boiler. If you have a different model of boiler that does not have an intake test port, what you're going to do is find the intake pipe. Within about 12 inches of the boiler, you want to drill a 1/4 inch hole, and you can seal that up with tape when you're done. And that's just so we can do a test. So this boiler is equipped with both intake and exhaust. So you want to take your manometer, put your boiler into high fire test mode if it runs at all, and that just ensures you've got a call for heat. Insert 2 or 3 inches of tubing into the exhaust test port, and measure the back pressure. With all boilers below 199,000, the maximum allowable back pressure at the maximum vent length is approximately 1.6 inches. The boiler I'm working on here is less than 199, and it has far less than the maximum vent length, and we're already at 1.7 inches at ignition rate. So what that means is this boiler has a fairly heavily restricted exhaust. You can see there when we go for ignition, it jumps up to 2 inches. What that means is from this point to the termination of the exhaust, wherever that is, you have some sort of blockage. So we'll pull that out, and next we'll check the air intake. So to do an air intake test, you may need to take a drill and just drill a small hole in the air intake pipe. Usually do it within 6 inches to a foot of the boiler. Take your manometer again. Stick the manometer tubing into the test port and measure the suction. The maximum allowable will be about 1.6 inches, and that's assuming you've got a 199 working with 100 feet of 2-inch venting. On a typical boiler with 3-inch venting, you're going to see numbers around 1/4 to 1/2 inch water column, either negative for the intake or positive for the exhaust. For 2-inch venting, numbers around 1.25 inches intake or exhaust is generally going to be okay. If you start to see numbers like this where it's going up to 2 or 3 inches, you have a blocked intake. Now, if you have a TRX like the one I have here, make sure that the hole for the air intake has been punched out. They're both sealed from the factory, so we've had a couple of cases where somebody forgot to take out the plastic disc, and that was their intake restriction, so test that as well. Hopefully you find that tech tip useful. As always, if you need any support, call tech support at 1-800-688-2575. Thanks for watching the video today. If you'd like to check out more videos, see the link below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for all the future updates. And also check us out on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram.